And trust me, she doesn't come with pixie dust. She comes with ice packs and doctor bills. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build muscle after 50 2 times faster than the guy next to you on the other bench who's just winging it, with 2 out of 4 tips. In fact, stick with me and you'll be able to build muscle faster without injury and without spending all day in the gym. I'm Simon H, Muscle After 50 coach. Now let's get to business. Tip number 1, you've got to up your intensity. Now, lack of intensity plagues a lot of older lifters because they get worried and they fear that they're going to get injured. But our tip number 2 will ensure that you can train harder, yet smarter, without spending all day in the gym. Now, let's get back to tip number 1, because tip number 1 is absolutely fundamental for building muscle. Doesn't matter if you're 30 or 50. Intensity is key. Most people make the assumption that when they're going into the gym, if they just go through the motions and if they make the weight go up and down a number of times because somebody told them to, and if they do a number of sets because somebody told them to, that they're going to get better and bigger and stronger. Regardless of the program, the reps, the sets, if an exercise is not done with enough intensity, none of that stuff matters. What will end up happening is that you'll just be going through the motions just to say that you've had a training session. When you're exercising, what you're trying to do is send a message to your body that your environment is placing a demand that exceeds its current capacity so that it's a threat to your ability to move. Think about it. If you can't move, you can't obtain food. And you certainly can't prevent yourself from becoming someone else's food. Movement is absolutely essential for survival. And as a result of our bodies having adapted to this kind of stress that threatens our ability to move, it starts with the muscles and then the other supporting systems. If you're trying to send that message to your body that you want more muscle, then what you have to do during an exercise has to be demanding enough that it is a threat to your ability to move. Your exercise has to fatigue your muscles to the point where you are momentarily incapable of further movement. Let's face it, most people don't even get close to that. They pick a weight and they've got a set number of reps in their head. And as soon as the weight starts to make their muscles burn and they start to feel uncomfortable and they start a little bit of a sweat, that's the end of the set. Now, if you stop the moment things start to feel hard and uncomfortable, you're not asking your body to do anything that it hasn't experienced already. So why should it adapt or readapt and grow? Now, yes, it's going to hurt. Yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable, but that is very temporary, especially if you're using good form. Ultimately, if you want it bad enough, if you want that muscle for strength, longevity and vitality in older age, you'll suck it up. But if you want to look the same, you'll carry on doing exactly the same. Now, here are some reasons why using intensity is so important for muscle building. And the very first one is all about muscle fiber recruitment. High intensity workouts recruit a greater number of muscle fibers. This recruitment is essential for optimal muscle development as it ensures that a larger portion of your muscles is being worked. The second one is microscopic muscle damage. Intense resistance training causes microscopic damage to the muscle fibers. This damage, when repaired during recovery, leads to muscle growth and increased strength. Higher intensity also increases a hormonal response. Intense workouts trigger the release of hormones such as testosterone and growth hormone, which are crucial for muscle protein synthesis and overall muscle growth. And the last reason is progressive overload. You see, intensity is a key component of the principle of progressive overload. To continue building muscle, you need to gradually increase the resistance or the intensity of your workout over time. This constant challenge will ensure that you have an ongoing amount of adaptations. Now, it's important to know that intensity doesn't mean lifting the heaviest weights. No, intensity refers to the level of effort and focus that you're using in a particular set. So how much effort should I use? Good question. We're not talking about failure to the point where somebody's got to lift the bar off your neck. But what we are talking about is making sure that you are challenging your muscles harder than the last time you did that exercise. And that's how you progress. Now, before I give you tip number 2, I can't talk about intensity without talking about its 2 younger brothers, volume and frequency, because they are very much interlinked with intensity. When it comes to volume, if you have a demanding enough stress on the body, there's going to be a limit to the amount your body can tolerate. And the limit is going to be inversely proportional to how demanding that stress is. The harder your training is, the more conservative you have to be with your volume of training to avoid overstressing the body. This is especially important if you are over 50. So, if you are training intently enough, you'll quickly reach that point where doing additional work will be counterproductive and it won't make your muscles grow any faster. Frequency only matters if you are training with intensity and have your volume in check. Now, one of the biggest things that I learned since turning 50, because I'm 54 now, is the more infrequently I train, the bigger, the stronger, the more recovered I became. Crazy. Yep, this sounds backward, but this is coming from a guy who's been training this way for the last 4 years. You see, as you lift progressively heavier weights, the stress on the body increases to the point that if you don't take any extra rest days, you could be reaching that critical point where if you overdo it, you're going to be overtraining, and that could eventually, if left too long, lead to injury. Now, let's face it, age is more than just a number when it comes to bouncing back from injury. It's more like a reality check. Write that down. Tip number 2. You've got to tidy up your form or risk injury. Now, it's all very well hitting that gym hard like it's late with the rent. But let's have a serious chat. If your form looks like a giraffe trying to do ballet, you're asking for a visit from the injury fairy. And trust me, she doesn't come with pixie dust. She comes with ice packs and doctor bills. Bad form might not seem like a big deal when you're younger. A little grunt here, a lopsided lift there. But after 50, your body plays by different rules. That one reckless deadlift or sloppy overhead press could mean weeks of watching reruns with a heat pad as your best friend. Your joints, they're not a fan of winging it. Your tendons, they'll remind you what pain really feels like if you twist them the wrong way. And as for that backache, oh, that's the preview to the big hurt, starring you. So tidy up your form like it's a first date. Precision, control, and just enough flair to get the job done. Because proper form isn't just about looking good. Nah, it's about staying in the game for the long haul. You see, nobody's got time for those unavoidable setbacks, especially men old enough to know better. With that being said, if you want to stay on the right side of intensity and good form without spending all day in the gym, you have got to try HIIT training, aka high intensity training, or as I like to say, SHIIT, slow motion high intensity training. High intensity training is a no-nonsense, short but savage approach to working out. We're talking 1 to 3 sets per muscle group, performed with such focus and quality that your muscles reach momentary failure. And yes, It's one of the best protocols for building muscle after 50. Not just because I said so and because it sounds hardcore, but because it's designed with careful attention to volume and frequency to keep injuries and overtraining at bay. So what makes HIIT stand out from the conventional training style? Well, you see, while both involve loading up and working your muscles to failure, HIIT has a secret sauce: constant tension. You see, unlike traditional training where you might lock out and let your muscles catch their breath, HIIT makes sure that your muscles don't take a coffee break. By removing the lockout phase, your muscles are kept in a state of continuous strain, making every rep a battle worth winning. But that real game changer is that super slow tempo. Forget the typical 2-second lift and the lazy few seconds back down. With HIIT, you're moving at a snail's pace. 5 to 10 seconds on the way up, on the concentric, and 5 to 10 seconds on the way down, the eccentric phase. That means that each rep takes a whopping 10 to 20 seconds to complete. Yes, you heard me right, 10 to 20 seconds per rep. It's like slow cooking your muscles until they are perfectly tender and thoroughly fatigued. The combination of a super slow tempo and constant tension takes your muscles to places of no return, recruiting every last fiber and wringing it dry. And here's the kicker. Unlike conventional training, which often calls for heavy loads that can turn your joints into creaking floorboards, HIIT, you're using slightly lighter loads. With the reduced load and the absence of sudden directional changes, HIIT is a joint-friendly, tendon-loving protocol that's perfect for seasoned lifters. As you fatigue, the lift actually becomes safer because you can't apply as much force. Translation: less risk, more reward. All while you're still in control and keeping those injuries far from your doorstep. You see, this guy here, I'm not just talking about it. I've been about HIIT training for the last 4 years. That's how I've been training. Been keeping myself out of the injury, been keeping myself from overtraining and overstressing the body and giving my body enough time to recover. So let me quickly summarize why HIIT is so boom when it comes to building muscle after 50 in the safest way possible. And let's start with the obvious. It's probably the most joint-friendly approach to building muscle. HIIT utilizes lighter loads and controlled movements, alleviating stress on the joints and making it ideal for men over 50 concerned with joint health. So not only is it joint-friendly, it has a controlled intensity to prevent overtraining, optimize recovery, reduce risk of injury, muscle fiber engagement without burnout, tailored intensity levels, and efficient workout for time management. And last but not least, structured progression with motivation. So here's a brief overview. If you looked at me, you'd probably think, oh, this guy trains probably 4 or 5 times a week in the gym. With HIIT, for the last 4 years, I've only been training twice a week with hypertrophy training. You see, there are many ways to roll out the HIIT training, but the way I found that is the most beneficial to myself and the clients that I train is training twice a week. So you'll have workout 1, which is lower body, chest and triceps. Workout 2, it's delts, back and biceps. And there are specific rep targets to reach for upper body exercises and lower body exercises. And once you hit that rep target, you increase the weight on the following week. It's very motivational, especially the fact that you are writing stuff down and you're keeping an eye on what you did last week and you've got an eye on what you want to do this week. Now, if you want more information about high intensity training, just check out the link in the description. Now, in the next video, I'm going to share the last 2 tips that is going to help you to build muscle 2 times faster than the guy on the next bench there, just winging it. Until the next time, stay safe, train smart.
We interrupt this program to bring you an important announcement.
When you download our free cheat sheet, not only will you discover the secrets to transforming your body and your life in your 50s faster than you ever imagined, you'll also discover how to gain muscle in your 50s. This will shock you, not only because of how easy it is, but the speed at which you'll see results. You'll also find how to lose weight in your 50s. We'll reveal the method that completely flips everything you thought you knew on its head. No fad diets, no grueling cardio sessions. And if you've been feeling like a dead car battery, it's time to get your energy back. We'll show you how. Now, the link for this free cheat sheet is in the description.